Hi, Diva. It's Rachel.
And Jordan. Yeah, hi. Quick question.
Why are you not spending your Venmo balance?
Yeah, we're concerned.
You can, buy stuff with it.
Ugh, you love buying stuff.
And earn cash back on eligible purchases.
You love purchasing eligible things.
So the money your friend sent you yesterday, that's today's ramen or rideshare or eye patches.
The skincare kind, not the pyro kind.
Spend with Venmo, then you can earn cash back with Venmo Stash. Venmo Stash bundle terms and exclusions apply. Max $100 cash back per month. See terms at venmo.me/stash terms. ID verification required to use a Venmo balance.
Cats and Cosby, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We got a loaded show today. We have a lot of people in the studio, Rita.
Yes, we do. We have some great ones.
And we have a special guest. We have Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis is in the studio with us, and she just had a press conference that she's going to talk about. And well, the economy, what happened the last 10 minutes of the stock market crashed in the last 10 minutes of the show. And we got Steve Moore of More Money, a good friend of the president's, and our regular guest on Wednesday, we have not George Washington,
very
it's
similar.
Rudy Washington.
Very similar, very
Deputy
similar.
Mayor, and it's just a horse of a different color.
Did George Washington like Doritos? I'm not sure.
There might be relatives. You never know.
They might be. You never know.
And Judge
Richard Weinberg,
Richard Weinberg, a real good guy, and he knows his stuff, and it seems to be very angry today.
Yes, he does.
And tell us what he's angry about, Rita.
Well, I'll tell you why. I'm going to defend the judge here. And the reason I'm defending the judge is there are a lot of people who are angry today. And a lot of people were quite surprised at what President Trump revealed. And this is it's called the Memorandum of Understanding. So let's understand what that means. That means this is sort of the pathway to the deal. And that he's still hoping that J.D. Vance, the vice president, is going to be flying over. He said he might himself attend, but more likely send J.D. on Friday to sign it in Switzerland. And essentially, John, it has 14 different points. And President Trump read it out loud. Obviously, ending the war, opening up the Strait of Hormuz, lifting the blockade, talking about nuclear and a whole bunch of other stuff. But he also said, look, if Iran violates any of these things, we're going to bomb the hell out of them. And the big issue where I think Judge Weinberg's going to be about as red as his tie is about the money issue. Because, and even, look, Fox was asking the president a lot. I've seen Trey Gowdy, conservative, came out. He was blasting the president. There's a lot of people who are just very confused today.
So it's very simple. Trump and the military won a great military victory. They were on their way to cashing in the regime. They stopped. This deal is a very bad deal. The money that's going to be released is going to be used to fund terrorism, the proxies, to rearm in Iran, sending out very bad signals that Israel is a problem. No, Mr. President, the problem is Iran is a problem. Until you understand that,
let's walk
you
through
will
the
not
money.
win.
Judge, let's walk through the money because what's
money
a little
is fun.
Yes,
but
here's the issue. What
money
President
is fungible.
Trump exactly
Money is fungible.
Exactly, and that's the big issue. You're hitting a very powerful point because what President Trump came out with is saying, okay, yes, there is going to be some money for reconstruction, not from the U.S. He kept repeating it's not any U.S. dollars. But he said, I'm not going to stop other countries that want to invest and rebuild Iran because it's a good thing for the Middle East.
How did that work out for Gaza when they put all that money into Gaza and they built terrorist tunnels? And what they did is they armed themselves and built up their militias. Please, let's not be naive.
And here's the other area, Judge. Here's the other one. You can see the judge is getting redder and redder. Here's the other one, right? The other issue is he said, yeah, no, definitely not. Then you would have been really purple and blue after this. But here's what happened on the other issue. He came forward and he said that, yes, there is assets. There's Iranian assets in the United States and elsewhere that we're holding. And he said, yeah, we might consider if there's performance, it's all performative, but if they are good and they behave, we will release those monies. They're not U.S. dollars, they're Iranian dollars. So
that's called leverage. That's called leverage. You don't give it up until you get what you want. Please tell me the great victories that President Trump got out of this so-called Memorandum of Understanding. I want to know what they are.
Well, he did pound Iran to the ground. He did decimate their navy.
That was pre-deal. I said he did a great job. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. When people like the Iranian zealots tell you death to Israel and death to America, you better take them seriously.
Yeah, and I agree with you about the fungible money, Judge. Go ahead, Rudy.
Judge, if you remember 6 weeks ago, and I even text you guys back the following day to remind everybody that I said, yes, it will be quiet over the summer. Yes, fuel will go down, and then come October or September, all hell's going to break loose.
The plan is
to knock,
you're right.
To knock Trump out of the box by using the Democratic Congress.
Of course. You know how you're going to do it? What they'll do is they'll heat it up again in October.
Exactly.
There's your October surprise.
Yeah, that's your October surprise, all designed to make them lose a midterm.
That's right.
And we all know what happens if that happens.
God forbid if Democrats win out of the House and the Senate.
Everybody's under impeachment. I mean, Hegseth, the president, they even bring back Kristi Noem, all of them.
Right. If you said the word Trump, you're going to be impeached.
Right. Or indicted.
Exactly. By the way, here's some other interesting news about presidential libraries.
Breaking news, WABC.
And let's see what Steve Moore from More Money has to say about this. Subcontractors are saying they are owed millions. They're facing financial ruin after helping to build the Obama Presidential Center, which is supposed to be opened. And it looks like, have you seen it? It looks like such an eyesore. Steve, what's your reaction? It's a far cry from...
I'm a Chicagoan. And Steve is a Chicago guy.
I was going to say.
I've never seen that. I haven't been to Chicago.
It's been a bad summer for Chicago. We lost the Bears, and now we've got this crappy library. And the guys haven't been...
How bad does it look?
But this is just like
It's
Barack
bad.
Obama. He never pays his bills. See, the deficit went way up when he was president.
It looks really bad. It looks like when you see it, it's so like unappealing.
Is it on the campus of University of Chicago?
I think it is.
Exactly?
I think it is. I have to look to it, but it's a huge eyesore. Yeah. I mean, when you see it, it's like this enormous structure, and it's not beautiful.
How do you spell ugly?
It says supposed to open up Juneteenth. Is that Friday?
Yeah, well, that's why this is what a lot of people are surmising. Okay, here's rumor, not breaking news, but rumor that. Okay, he says, I'm going to open on Friday. Obviously, there's issues. It's been delayed. And then here's the memorandum of understanding happening. It's kind of interesting, the timing of the two. What do you make of that, Rudy Washington?
Are we surprised?
No. Well, speaking of other big news, we have Nicole Malliotakis with us. And Nicole, Congresswoman, you just had a big press conference about ICE, about sanctuary city laws, especially in New York State. You got to fill us in.
Yeah, well, look, I was with the ICE director before, and we were highlighting all the people, all the criminals that were convicted. And they had to go out and arrest them because New York basically released them back onto the streets. So these are the sanctuary policies of Zohran Mamdani, of Kathy Hochul, and the other Democrats. Even after we saw people murdered, the 83-year-old who was shoved in front of the subway, killed by an illegal immigrant, the Chicago college student who is from New York, killed by an illegal immigrant, shot to death, vehicular manslaughter, sex abuse, many crimes. And just in recent weeks, let me rattle off this list if I can. It's just in recent weeks, they arrested somebody who was convicted of sexual abuse of a minor. Now, these are not, I have 15 people right here, just in the last couple of weeks, convicted of rape, convicted of sexual contact with a person incapable of consent.
Does that mean a minor?
Forcible touching. Well, there were minors in here as well, right? Sexual assault against minors. You got child abuse. You actually got murder, believe it or not. Rape.
These are the ones released, you're saying?
These are the ones that were released. A guy who actually had a conviction for murder in Minnesota, and he was here in New York.
And he got released.
He got arrested for some other stuff, and he was released. And then you also have a whole bunch of other crimes. I mean, it's insanity. And this is who the governor and the mayor are doubling down now, want to change the laws and make the sanctuary policies even more difficult to go after these folks and arrest them. But I think nobody spends time highlighting the criminals that ICE is actually arresting in our city.
How is ICE doing, too, Nicole? I mean, we've had some folks on, but you were just with them literally minutes ago. I kind of describe, how are they doing? They're getting so beat up. You think about the cars are getting smashed in at the Newark facility. They're being doxxed. They're being vilified, death threats. How are they doing?
Look, I think they're trying their best to do their job. I think we all want them to focus on the criminals, right? We really want them to focus on getting these bad guys off the streets. But what's crazy is even when they are convicted of these crimes that I've just mentioned, heinous, horrific crimes, the policies of New York is to release them back onto the streets instead of turning them over when they have a detainer request. And that, to me, is insanity. I think we could all agree that we want these criminals to be deported. And Governor Hochul just doubled down with this new law. Basically, she's going to take the New York City sanctuary policy and now make it a statewide policy. So it's going to get, unfortunately, worse outside of New York City.
Didn't Tom Homan say, make my day?
Yeah, he did. And you
so
know
what's going on?
And you know what he also told us, John? I was thinking about the conversation that we had with him. He also said that because of like this New York State, first he said, yeah, make my day like Clint Eastwood. And you don't mess around with Tom Homan. And then the other thing he said, too, was that because of this policy, they're going to have to send more officers now. Because, you know, if they transfer them from the jail like they're supposed to do, as opposed to letting them out on the street, then you're not putting the public in danger. He said, we're going to now have to exponentially increase our officers to New York.
Look, and if for a group of people that say they don't want to have raids, they're giving them no choice, because if they're not turning them over when they're being released from prison,
then they got to catch
them.
Then
they got to go on the street and find them.
And they need more officers to then suddenly get them. If they're suddenly moving them from handcuff to handcuff, you don't really need a lot of officers. It puts everybody in danger.
Yeah, and we see obviously agitators. There's a difference between protesting and agitating, right? You have agitators who are trying to hinder what their work, trying to get in the middle of when they're trying to make an arrest. I've introduced legislation called the Federal HALO Act, which would require a 15-foot buffer. So this protects the public, and it protects the officer, protects everybody involved. So people can peacefully protest, but they need to be 15 feet away. And it protects the officers and allows them to do their job without having these people, you know, interjecting and making it less safe for everyone involved.
Makes it very dangerous. Rudy.
Well, first of all, the whole concept of sanctuary city is not even legal. But they can do things legislatively. And right now, listening to the Congresswoman, this feels like politics. You know, let's do this so I can control the vote in New York City. What happens outside of New York City in terms of an election, different ball game. But none of this makes any sense. I mean, the Congresswoman just articulated it all, the way common sense people would feel about this. And we're doing the contrary. I mean, this makes zero sense. The only way it makes sense is
you know who likes
we're playing politics with New York City.
I was about to say, you know who likes it? Zora Mondani.
Yeah,
this is exactly, and he's the one who's supporting. In fact, next week you've got the primary with Chevalier, and she's come out. I mean, I played a clip of her, John, last night on my show, on the 10 o'clock show. She's screaming and ranting about Israel, screaming and ranting about ICE. They want to abolish ICE, not just rein them in.
I have a question for the Congresswoman, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
You all just in the House approved the ICE funding, right? So that money will be. When will that start? When will that money start flowing out the door? When will that start combating?
It's flowing. It's I mean, this is for the next. This is through 2029. So Trump's presidency. Even the money for the Homeland Security investigations to conduct child sexual exploitation and abuse investigations, the Democrats voted against. Wow. Even that, when we saw we had 450,000 children that came over the border and were being smuggled. And they found how many of these children? Did you hear Mark Wayne Mullen the other day when he did his press conference?
146,000.
140,000 children were found, and they said some of the children said that they were raped over 600 times. Is that what the Democrats are protecting right now? It really upsets me. But when you think about, and if I could just add one more thing.
Sure.
The Air Force veteran, Richard Williams, the 83-year-old man that was shoved in the New York City subway and killed by an illegal immigrant in March of this year. The suspect was 34 years old, Honduran, who had been deported 4 times previously, and he had 15 prior arrests, and yet he was on the streets of New York. Why? And Laken Riley's murderer, we know, her murderer was also arrested in New York and released back onto the street, went to Georgia, killed Laken Riley. So these are preventable. These are preventable deaths. These are preventable 100%, crimes.
But there has to be a will. And that's the issue on the Democratic side. To your point, they are totally playing politics. I agree, Rudy.
You know what?
And it's dangerous.
You know what's scary, Congresswoman and Rita? There's an opportunity, a chance, outside chance. DSA could pick up 4 congressional seats right here in New York City.
You forgot New Jersey. What about crazy Adam Holloway? Yeah. Holloway is almost guaranteed now because he's in a blue district, very blue district.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's the guy who was the character witness for the blind shake for the World Trade Center.
What's
I mean, you cannot make that up.
More than a character witness, he was the aide de camp and he was a translator. He was in the car when they're doing the plotting and scheming for the first attack on the Trade Center. Much more than just happened to be a character witness. Let's be clear.
You know,
He was
you're
lucky
right.
he was not indicted and convicted.
I want to also say he was a voluntary character witness, too.
I mean,
I want to volunteer.
And he's going to have access to classified materials in Congress. I mean, is Hakeem Jeffries, if he were to become speaker, would he put him on the Intelligence Committee? I mean, come on.
Foreign Affairs?
It's crazy. It's crazy. It has to be stopped.
It is absolutely.
And only the voters can stop it, by the way. So if you're a voter in that district in New Jersey, like, don't vote for a guy who was a character witness, or worse than a character witness, for Al Qaeda. Just do yourself a favor. Do the country a favor.
Yeah, do the country a favor.